Welcome to Kids Wisdom Ocean, where magical stories come to life and every tale has a lesson to learn. Today's story is about a kind farmer, a mysterious goose, and a life-changing secret hidden in a golden egg. Get ready for a heartwarming journey full of wonder, choices, and a big lesson about what really makes us rich inside. Let's dive into The Goose That Laid the Golden Eggs. Chapter 1. The Humble Life. In a quiet village surrounded by golden wheat fields and rolling green hills, there lived a humble farmer named Eldon. He was a simple man, honest, hardworking, and content with the little he had. Eldon lived in a cozy cottage with his kind-hearted wife, Mara, and their loyal dog, Patch. Eldon owned a small farm with a few chickens, a cow, and one old cart. Every morning, he rose with the sun and worked the land with his hands. Mara baked bread and made cheese, while Patch chased away crows from the crops. They lived a peaceful life, never rich but never hungry. Every Sunday, Eldon would bring eggs, vegetables, and fresh milk to the village market. He never made much money, but he always returned with a smile and enough coins to last the week. "Simple things bring the most joy," Eldon often said, smiling at the sunrise. But deep down there was one thing he wished for, a little more comfort for Mara. She worked tirelessly by his side, yet their roof still leaked and their clothes were patched. Eldon dreamed of one day surprising her with a warm house, new shoes, and days of rest. He just didn't know how. Chapter 2. A Strange Gift. One spring morning, while tending to the chicken coop, Eldon heard a strange flutter. Inside the old wooden coop was a goose, larger than any he had seen, with feathers that shimmered like silk and eyes bright as polished amber. "Where did you come from, beauty?" he whispered, amazed. The goose honked softly, then waddled over and laid a single egg before Eldon's eyes. He bent down to collect it and gasped. The egg was smooth, heavy, and shining gold. Eldon stared in disbelief. "No, this can't be." He rushed to the house and showed Mara. She dropped her spoon. "Eldon, is it real?" He nodded. "We mustn't tell anyone. But if this is what it seems, we've been given a miracle." Chapter 3. Gold by Morning. The next day, the goose laid another golden egg, and another the day after that. Eldon carefully wrapped the eggs in cloth and brought one to a distant jeweler. The man examined it, then exclaimed, "Pure gold! Where did you find this?" "I found it in the field," Eldon lied. The jeweler paid him a small fortune. Eldon's hands shook as he held the coins. He returned home and placed the money before Mara. "We can fix the roof, buy warm clothes, even build a new barn," he said. Tears welled in her eyes. What a blessing! Chapter 4. Life Transformed. In the weeks that followed, Eldon's life changed. He built a sturdy roof with new tiles. Mara received the finest wool dress in the village. Patch had a fresh bed of straw and a silver collar. The villagers whispered, "How did Eldon become so lucky?" Eldon never told. He hid the goose in a special coop, fed her grains and sweet corn, and watched every morning as she laid one golden egg. But as the weeks passed, something inside Eldon began to change. He no longer smiled at sunrises or laughed at Patch's barking. His eyes often stared at the old wooden chest where he kept the gold. And his hands, once rough from planting, now trembled with impatience. He wanted more. Chapter 5. The Whisper of Greed. One night while lying in bed, Eldon whispered, What if the goose has more gold inside her?" Mara turned toward him. "Eldon, no. She gives us 1 egg a day, enough to live well. We must not be greedy." But Eldon frowned. "What if we didn't have to wait? 1 egg a day is slow. What if there are dozens inside her, just waiting to be taken?" "Please," she said gently, "don't think like that. A gift like this must be honored. If we force it, we may lose everything." But Eldon couldn't sleep. His mind buzzed with thoughts of riches. Carriages, silks, servants, lands of his own. And the next morning he didn't wait for the egg. Chapter 6. The Terrible Mistake. Eldon stood in front of the coop, staring at the goose. She looked up at him, trusting, unaware. His heart pounded. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "It's just 1 cut. 1 time. And we'll never want again." He reached for the knife. Patch barked loudly in protest. Mara cried from the doorstep, "Eldon, no." But his hands moved anyway. In one swift moment the miracle ended. Inside the goose, there were no golden eggs, no treasure, just flesh and blood. Silence fell. Eldon dropped the knife. "What have I done?" Chapter 7. The Empty Chest. The next day, Eldon sat by the fireplace, staring into nothing. The golden goose was gone, and no more eggs came. The wealth he had saved would last for some time, but it would run out. And when it did, there would be no more. He buried the goose under the old oak tree and placed a single feather on the grave. Mara sat beside him, silent. "I was foolish," Eldon whispered. "I had everything. Warm home. And I threw it away, for greed." She took his hand. "We still have each other. That is more than many." He nodded. "Then I will start again, with what I have left." Chapter 8. A New Kind of Rich. Years passed. Eldon returned to farming, not as poor as before, but no longer rich. He used the remaining gold wisely, investing in better tools, planting new crops, and helping other farmers. Though the golden eggs were gone, Eldon found another kind of treasure: respect. He became known not for his wealth, but for his wisdom. Children would visit and ask, "Tell us the story of the golden goose." And he would smile sadly and say, "Ah, yes. I once had a goose that laid golden eggs. And I let my greed destroy her." Let that be your lesson. Patience and gratitude are more precious than gold. Epilogue. The Feather in the Frame. In their cottage, above the fireplace, hung a simple wooden frame. Inside was the goose's single golden feather. Every evening, Eldon and Mara would sit by the fire, warmed by the knowledge that though fortune had knocked once, it was wisdom that kept the door open. And every time a visitor asked what that feather meant, Eldon would smile and say, "It reminds us that enough is enough." Moral of the story. Greed destroys what patience would multiply. Gratitude grows what gold cannot buy. And that's the story of Eldon, the magical goose, and the golden eggs. Remember, kids, Being patient, kind, and grateful is worth more than all the gold in the world. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kids Wisdom Ocean for more magical moral stories every week. See you in the next adventure.